Hello and good evening. I'm Ryan Lester, and this is episode 26 of the Wolves Report, where tonight we'll be talking about that Villa game. Fabio Silva, Max Kilman, Joao Moutinho, killing games off, taking your questions, and looking ahead to Friday night's game against Newcastle. And the podcast wouldn't be complete without our regular pundits. We've got Nocky, we got Tyler, and we've spent all of the Easter budget on our own Easter bunny, which brings special treats of football knowledge. Daz Hale. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Thought you'd be a bit happier than that after the last few days. But anyway, just before we get to the Villa game, let's remind ourselves of a little vision of what happened.
Mate, that's where the budget's gone. Nothing to do with that.
You've got too much time on your hands.
Oh no, you need to get a job, you do.
Literally, thanks. Literally, I've got my phone and a fancy app. That is it. Before the show kicks off tonight, right at the beginning, I'm not going to be well enough to go to the game on Friday night at Newcastle. I'm giving away 2 tickets to Newcastle. Anybody that knows anyone that would like 2 free tickets, literally just comment on the show. If you want them, if you're not going to waste them and you'll definitely use them, they're yours. Drop me a comment. If you know someone that wants them, 2 tickets for Friday night. I'll put them first class tomorrow morning for anyone that wants them. As everyone's told me pre-show to shut up and get on with it, but I've got long COVID, so I can't really do much now. But anyway, here we go. Knocker, let's start with you in that smiley, beautiful face of yours. Talk me through Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Aston Villa 1.
Yeah, a bit of humble pie on my part. I genuinely did not see that coming. I thought with the loss of Raul and more so the loss of Neves, I thought we were really going to struggle. I thought they'd overwhelm us in midfield. I anticipated Coutinho would have a little bit of a field day, dropping deeper or pulling out wide, and we were absolutely sensational. I thought the football we played in the first half was excellent, other than the first 5 minutes. I think Villa had the better of it starting off for the first 5, and then after that, we scored the goal, took full control of the game. And it wasn't just the fact we got the 2 goals, it was the manner of the football that we were playing. I mean, there was an opportunity when Dendoncker fired wide, and there was 5 or 6 intricate passes around the area that got us through their lines, and we were breaking their lines every time we attacked. It was absolutely phenomenal. And the only disappointing thing for me is that we weren't 5-0 up at half time, because I genuinely think in the balance of play and the opportunities for both teams, we could quite easily and should have killed that game off by half time. And obviously, they get a penalty, which is never a penalty in a million years for me, and gets themselves back into it, which makes it a little bit sticky. And that would be the one thing I think Bruno will be disappointed in, is that we allowed them space to get back into the game when we should have killed it stone dead. But all in all, you know, it's a double over our local rivals, and it was a really good performance as well to go.
Daz, you were sat in the neutral seat covering the game. How did it look from your view?
Well, I agree with pretty much everything I've heard so far. I mean, on the phone in the build-up to the game all week, it was, and I felt the same way. There was a real sense of apprehension, I think, and almost a sense of foreboding amongst some supporters about what was going to happen on the Saturday. And I have to say, I think it was a really brave and really positive selection from Bruno Lage to go with just the 2 in midfield and 3 up front. I fully expected it to be 3-5-2, and I wouldn't have argued with that. I mean, you've mentioned the quality that Villa have got in their midfield area, and yet to go in there, and I think it was a master stroke dropping Dendoncker a little bit deeper, because I think that is his position. And he's never really had the opportunity this season to play there. He's always had to play a more advanced role when he has been brought in the 3 in the midfield.
Had a great game as well, didn't he? Had a really good game.
Yeah, and it's spot on, I think, the fact that, again, it's been touched upon, the fact that Wolves weren't clinical enough, and that's been the case since day one of the season. You look back to the first 3 matches when they had about 45 shots and couldn't score a goal.
Incredible football at the start of the season.
Yeah, and in fairness, I think, you know, you have to say as well that if we're going to say Wolves weren't clinical enough, well, neither were Villa. I mean, you had the 2 1-on-1.
Definitely in the first half. Definitely in the second half. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really don't think that 5-3 or 6-3 would have actually. I think that would have been a fair result on the day. But the football that Wolves played in the first half was sublime. And then I'm sure at halftime they said, after what happened against Leeds, even though it was down to 10 men, and also what happened in the reverse fixture. I think they just said, right, we took in now, we let them up. They'll play in front of Wolves, and then we'll try and pick them off on the counter attack, which again they did on numerous occasions. But as you said there, without being clinical enough. Although you have to say Martinez made a couple of good saves as well, second half. Yeah,
I mean, moving on to you, Tyler. It did have that feel, didn't it? It felt like the stars aligned before, and when we were 2-0 up, everyone must have thought it. Everyone must have absolutely thought it, that after what had happened with the Leeds game, after what had happened at Villa Park, but overall they dealt with it. They tucked in and dealt with it quite well, didn't they?
I think so. It's one of those that you say we haven't been clinical, but I saw a stat that we've scored, 20 goals since the turn of the year, which is the third most in the league. Yeah. So that's certainly improved. But, that end has got a lot better. And I said to you, Ryan, didn't I, yesterday? I thought we looked like scoring every time we went forward, first half especially. And it's the first time I've seen us commit 5-6 men in the box. But you are right, 2-0 at half-time. No Wolves fans comfortable, are they? I wasn't comfortable. Even at 2-1, you think, oh, crikey, can we see the 3 or 4 minutes? And then Matt Cash has that volley at the back post that could have stuck in. And
Knocker's mate, that is, I know.
But at least hopefully they've buried the ghost of Leeds, haven't they? Not too convincingly, but that one's well out the system now. But it's typical Wolves, isn't it? When the chips are down and when, they're slightly underdogs, maybe Wolves always come out with something, don't they? They always surprise you. So, yeah, great win, fully deserved, comfortable. I don't think any Villa fans moan that the result wasn't fair either. So, probably proves that we were, full value for the 3 points.
Well, moving on to something that Daz mentioned and that I was going to mention. When we talked about it on the poddy last week about what team we'd like and how we'd set up, but I think we all kind of expected, as reflected with Daz's phone in the week, that we were expecting a more pragmatic Wolves. We're possibly expecting 3 across the middle, 3-5-2. A little bit afraid of what happened against Leeds, but you've got to credit Bruno for the bravery, and you've got to credit the team for implementing that plan. They believed in it. That performance was like the Leeds first half again, but without the collapse. And obviously, we know how that happened with the start of the red card, Daz. But as you said, the bravery, the belief in that team, that they did not play like a team that had just given away a 2-goal lead 2 weeks before.
I think you can have I thought the selection was good. The tactics were good, but ultimately then, I'm sounding like a football manager now, it's down to the players. And I don't think there was anyone out there who was less than an 8 out of 10 on the day. And so when you've got everybody who's on the game, then it was perfect. And it's breathed new life into the season. I think most people were beginning to feel that that was it. The season was done and it'd been a decent campaign and we'd flirted with Europe. And that may still be the case. But as things stand this evening,
crazy.
That game at Newcastle now is absolutely massive. And going on about the stats, it's quite right. Wolves are the third highest scorers this since 2022 began. We've scored 9 in the last 4. Another stat, you may well have seen this. The Premier League table since the 1st of January, Wolves are second in the table behind Liverpool.
Wow. Phenomenal.
But why doesn't it feel like that? I mean, obviously we're buzzing after after local derby. You're buzzing after the win, but I think those 3 defeats really sort of took the wind out of our sails. And we've talked on here about sort of, I know, and last week, and these guys are right. One said draw, one said defeat. So I said win, but I didn't believe we'd win. I didn't believe it'd be 3-4-3, but it was such a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, here it is. Look, 3 pound of potatoes, carrot. Oh no, wrong side of the paper. Liverpool played 11 in 2022, points 31. Wolves played 13, points 24. Third place, Man City played 9 points.
That's
20.
Incredible.
4th place since the turn of the year, Newcastle, 19 points from 11 games. Although, of course, I don't know. I think I'd rather Newcastle have won 5-1 at Spurs at the weekend than lost 5-1 because there's bound to be some sort of response from them next Saturday, especially as they Chris Wood got hauled off. So just as we Danny Ings got beat, Danny Ings wasn't available on Saturday, which was congratulations to him and his family. Yeah, but that was the real plus as well for Wolves. He don't think he'd have started, but he'd have certainly been thrown out there with half an hour to go to score his customary goal, wouldn't he, against Wolves?
Well, that kind of forward, if you've got that kind of option in a game that you're chasing and you create a chance, you're 9 times out of 10 of a goal, aren't you? So, but let's talk about what was in front of us. Wolves didn't have Pedro Neto starting. They didn't have Jimenez. They didn't have Neves. So we had our own sort of doubts on the team. But the guys that come in, I mean, moving back to the defence to start off, I know we're going to talk about the attack in a bit, but Max Kilman coming back in, Willy Bolly right, Max Kilman left, and Connor Cody. For me, that's as good as I've seen that back three look. I don't think Bolly or Kilman they look so composed. And I think he almost allowed then Cody to come out and hit a few tackles. I think he took a yellow early on, a bit more aggression because he had those two behind him. But the centre-backs, I mean, if Willy Bolly can stay fit, that back three's for the long term, isn't it, surely?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to be the way forward. I mean, I like Roman Saiz, but we all know he hasn't been the same player since he's come back from the African Cup of Nations. So for me, if we can go with that three, then I think that's definitely the way we need to look for the rest of the season. Just last on Danny Ings as well. Steve Bull had a kid, drove to Norwich, drove back from Norwich. His missus had the kid, drove back up to Norwich, scored 2 goals. No excuse for not playing in that, especially for a team you always score against. I'm just putting it out there. Have a bit of commitment, son.
You're watching the Wolves Report. It's past 9 o'clock, and I hope you're all enjoying the show.
It's only half an hour up the road as well, isn't it?
He's on 78 grand a week, and he's telling me he can't play football because he's only a 4 hours kip. Come on, son. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, as regards Willy Bolly, the one time he did switch off, though, was the through ball, the 40, 50, 60-yard pass.
It's a good ball, though, isn't it?
It's a good ball. Yeah,
massively.
Massively. Yeah, really good pass. But
I've got my piece. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I think sometimes he finds the game so easy, and he's always in second gear. He is prone to have little lapses, isn't he? And another thing, Daz, do they not give you a laptop at WM or an iPad or anything? Is that all they give you? A pen and paper?
Times are hard. Times are hard. I wonder who got through the most wrigglies during the game, Willy Bolly or Tyrone Mings. They were both like just chewing away, weren't they? Whilst I've got my piece of paper though, it's funny that you look at this bet. I mean, considering there's no Neves and no Jimenez,
no Neto, no Semedo.
Well, I was going to say, isn't it funny how the world looks a completely different place when you win a game and play well? Because you look at the bench on Saturday, Neto, Saiz, Semedo, Hwang, Chiquinho, Gomez, Aït-Nouri, Ruddy, and England international. I mean, if you start adding that up, there's probably £100 million worth of talent on that bench. Yeah. I mean, that shows when it shows then just, and we all have a moan at the way the clubs, when things aren't going well, but that puts it into context a little bit. They've got that amount of stuff on the bench, that amount of talent.
When everyone is fully fit,
without 2 of the best players being available.
When everyone's fully fit, you've got a Premier League squad. It's just that 1 or 2 injuries that. But saying that though, I'm eating my words because Jimenez suspended, Neves out, Neto not fully ready yet, and Semedo, and Wolves still put on a glorious first half performance. So defensively, I know Willy Bolly's had his problems, but if we can keep him fit and we stick with a 3, because when it's like that, I know we go backwards and forwards, time for a back 4, wing backs, time for a back 4. But if it's that first half performance against Leeds, if it's that first half performance against Villa, playing that football, Villa couldn't live with Wolves in that first half, and neither could Leeds. And in those games, I know we've scored 4 goals, but we could have had 7 or 8 goals easy in total in those games. So yeah, hopefully that continues. A little bit more on Max Kilman. I know you mentioned the gum chewing competition with Tyrone Mings and Willy Bolly, but I mean, I tweeted about this after the game. But there was 2 left-footed English centre backs playing on Saturday, and if you were watching that game from a neutral point of view that you'd not seen them before, you're only saying that one of them plays for England. One of them was getting mugged off by Fabio Silva. The other one didn't have to get out of second gear. Tyler.
You're right. I fully agree with everything you said. And we touched upon that the last one, didn't we? You're right. If you didn't know anything about them, you would say Kilman's the England centre-half. But Mings, to be fair to him, hasn't ever let England down, really. He's quick, he recovers. Obviously, he got done by Fabio. If you're asking me out the two, I'd prefer it's a no-brainer. But I think we touched upon it the last one. Southgate does have people that he trusts in and around his squad. And I think Mings is one of them. The difference in class, if you ask me, the way they naturally play football, there's an occasion in the second half where it was play to kill him. He had a couple of Villa players round him. He just in and out, and he was away. And it's just like it's naughty, really. And the difference in how they can play and touch and control is massive. And Kilman had the pace. Crikey, the
wouldn't be playing for Wolves.
Ultimately, that's what I mean. The Wolves would be his oyster. It'd be a £100 million centre back if he's not already. So I fully get your point, but I still think he's a bit away from that England squad.
Is it just then a matter of he's not getting picked because he's not got enough experience and the manager's got players he trusts? Because for me, I haven't seen consistently over the season a better left-sided centre-back in the Premier League than Max Kilman.
Yeah, you're right. I'll let someone else speak. I agree with you, but I think he just has. He's people he trusts.
I think if there was 18 months to the next tournament, I think Kilman would be in with a shout. But I think when he knows that the tournament's coming up, he's going to stick with the players that he trusts. And I think that's just... I can understand it in a sense because you're going to have your spine of the team which you need to keep. He knows what Mings can do. He knows he's reliable for England. Like Tyler says, he's never let England down. And I think the tournament's just going to come a little bit too quickly for Max Kilman. But I'd be absolutely amazed if at the next Euros Kilman's not involved because... the way he's playing at the moment, he's earned his place, hasn't he? And I think the difference between the two, as you've quite rightly said, was massive. But I think that may have been to do with the opposition they were facing because Fabio bullied him all night, whereas Watkins played off the shoulder. So, but look, at the end of the day, all we can worry about is what Kilman does for Wolves. And at the moment, he's playing fantastically well. If he keeps that up, that opportunity is absolutely going to come.
I don't know if you know, but he used to play futsal.
I've heard a rumour. Yeah, I heard a rumour.
I think for him, for Kilman, the biggest, I suppose, the thing for him that's set him back was probably the two worst games he's had for Wolves were those two games within 4 days. The last chance Wolves had a chance to go in the top 4 or 5 was Arsenal and West Ham when he wasn't quite at it. And those were the two games that Gareth Southgate actually attended. So if you're watching someone there, you'd go, no, he's not ready. Now, we don't quite know whether it was just a natural dip in form or whether there was other stuff going on, clearly, with what's happening in the world. Right now, I don't know. And it's interesting how he came back and then he was taken out again, wasn't he, for the last game before for the league.
I think that was good management, and he can't really fault the manager for that because the way I think he's handled players, the way he's brought Neto back in, the way we all wanted Fabio to start. I know we're sort of digressing a bit, but Bruno needs a lot of credit for the way he's managed the players this season. We all knocked Marcel. I mean, we thought Marcel, but he's had a great few games. He's really picked up his form again. And easing Fabio back into the team, easing Neto back into the team. So Bruno, I think as well, managing his squad and the players really well, and he deserves more credit for that.
Here's one for you then, right? I'm sorry, you've probably got some questions anyway. Looking towards Friday night and maybe over the next few weeks, with Semedo fit, you know where I'm going here, don't you?
Yeah, that's all my questions gone, Daz. I can't believe it. No, I'm not joking.
Do you move? Do you just keep it as it is on Friday because everyone, as I mentioned, was an 8 out of 10 plus?
I think you play.
At what point does Semedo come back in and possibly Johnny move over to the left or not?
Well, I said to you, Ryan, after the game, you play Semedo and Johnny as your wing backs.
I think so.
They're your two best wing backs. Like I said before, Bolly's your best centre back. So if he's fit, he's playing.
I mean,
I don't think you can get all of them in mind.
Yeah, this feeds into what Andy Hipkins said. I don't think you can get all three in, but it's almost impossible, isn't it? And the only way you could do that, but not with the players that we've got. I always thought Johnny could play left or right of a back three if you're playing against a team we could really attack. I think we could do that. But in terms of what you said, Tyler, I think I'm not sure which one of you said it, but the best for me would be Johnny back to the left and Semedo back to the right. Not just because but those two defensively, and Semedo this season, they hardly put a foot wrong defensively. So you've got wing backs that can both defend.
They can do both.
They can do both. They can do both.
Aiden got found out against Leeds, didn't he? He was at fault for one of the goals. Johnny's our best left wing back, and Semedo's our best right wing back. So for me, it's that simple.
I mean,
is it too late for Johnny to get the golden boot, do you think, this season?
Someone said it's like fourth top scorer or something.
Wow. Well, let's give a minute to that finish. You've been out, brilliant. You've had your second cruciate on the same leg. You've come back in, and I don't know how, but he looks better than he's ever done. He's come back in, and that isn't the finish of a man that's been out for a year with a second career-threatening injury. That finish is like, I mean, it's dreamy. It's absolutely crisp. You're not in a local derby 10 minutes in. He's absolutely cleaned that one home.
I mean, we're at the game. We've got Gary Thompson and Mel Eves next to me. We all looked at each other and went, "That was Ryan Lester-esque in his prime." It was wonderful, and that flick in the second half as well. By the way, I don't know if you remember that.
The little back heel.
Extraordinary.
But with that in mind, do you want to move him from the right hand side then? Because the two chances he's had have both come because he's right footed in that area. So it's a big. I mean, long term, yes, you move him back across. But for me, you said there he's playing his best football. Is it a more natural position for him to be on the right than it is the left?
And then look at the assist from Marcel.
I agree.
So what did you say? What did you say then, Tyler? What
I just said, I've totally forgot what I said. What did I say? Semedo was playing his best.
Just seeing your screen name, son. You're out of order.
Semedo was playing his best football before he got injured. I just think they're your two best players.
Yeah, 100%. They're the two best.
And I think if you go back to that back three with them two as wing backs, you're solid. You're solid as a rock, aren't you? I think.
We'd be frightening attacking as well, wouldn't we? The pace of Semedo on the one side and Johnny on the other side. It's got to be the way forward long term, but I do think we could affect Johnny's game moving him.
It's a nice problem to have, isn't it?
It's a great problem to have.
In football, when you've got positive problems, when you've got a full squad of fit players, the fit player, it's not just about them winning a shirt. It's about them. They'll push their colleagues. They'll push their teammates. Like Neto being back in now, it's going to push Podence. Trincao now. Who's this bloke? Who's this bloke that's taken 2/3 of a season out? I'm like, if the Barcelona, if the phone rings from Spain next week, right, I'll just send you over that paperwork right now. Get that done quickly. I mean,
Daz has got the paperwork there.
Yeah.
2 small carrots. But
it's a bit of fax. Like on deadline day.
What's one of them?
Moving away from the defence, then. We cannot talk about that game and not talk about Joao Moutinho. We cannot talk and speak about him highly enough. This is a guy that has been, his legs have gone now. Everyone's kept saying it, and people have been a bit more respectful about it. Then Neves had some form, and it was like Neves is the best player I've ever seen in a Wolves shirt. Joao Moutinho has just gone and shut us all up again, hasn't he? This guy, he's playing against the 3 centre midfielders of Villa, and he's ran that game. And every time he gets the ball, how's he got 5 yards of space every single time? Good decision making, tremendous tackling, great engine. He fed in Marcel for the cross for the goal. What a footballer! Please stay another year. Yeah, I know Joe's a regular watcher of the show. Please stay, Joe. Guys, Joao Moutinho.
This is the man who'd also played twice for Portugal in the international break.
Incredible.
And he's it's 100. I think it's only Ronaldo's played more games, hasn't he, for Portugal? 144 caps.
Wow.
And I am one of those who 15, 16 months ago on air was saying, that's it now. He's been a terrific player, but he's running on empty. It looks like his legs have gone. And probably in truth, all he needed was a rest, having had that 2-year season. Yeah. And it's extraordinary to watch him. And I really hope that they want him to stay another year. And obviously it's up to him, isn't it? If he's got his heart set on going back and whatever, then fair play. But it's a privilege to watch him every time he pulls the shirt on. And what a professional. The way he approaches the game and extraordinary.
I think we said this before. It would have been quite easy for him to come over, had a couple of years on some really decent money. This guy, I know we've read articles about him sulking after losing in training, and he'd come home and not speak to his wife for a day after losing a game, and because he hates losing. This guy,
arrows.
Is it? But Joao Moutinho, he's just like the ultimate professional for your club. I can't say, he's had a stick. Sometimes, we've played against physical sides and he might get overrun, but he has been fantastic this season, playing more positive football. And I stand by this, and it just proven when Wolves play more attacking. The more attacking Wolves play, the better they play, the better performances we get. Players like Neves and Moutinho express themselves more. The wing backs get higher, and the attackers get to show their stuff as well. So, and it also takes the pressure off the defence. So for me, yeah. But going back to Joao Moutinho, I don't think he'll be here next summer. I mean, I've got one of the questions. I'll bring that in now. From Paul Nichols, who tweeted us this. Will Moutinho and Neves start our first game next season? You can have that one, Daz.
Daz, not Mystic Bloody Meg. Well, size his contract's up as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's some big decisions to be made. Head rolling heart, whether they'll start or not, I'd be surprised if both of them are there next season. And there's a lot of speculation, a lot of talk at the moment. All I can say is if they're not, then I mean, Neves, for instance, he's got 2 years left on his deal, I see.
Yeah.
So what's his market value? Because they better not have the pants pulled down over this one.
The thing is, though, if Neves was doing Neves stuff and he was playing for Man United or he was playing for a more fashionable club like an Arsenal or a Spurs, then people would be talking 75 million to go to Barcelona. I think Wolves will be looking at 50 or 60.
Jack Grealish went for £100 million.
Yeah.
English, though, and English players have always got a high value for some reason. I agree with Ryan.
He's older than Ruben Neves.
He is. I think if we get 60 million, I think that's all we'll get for him. I don't see us
We're
getting
gonna get 60 million.
Well, you've got the Mendes
Jeff,
factor
we'll
as well, haven't you?
To have him.
Well, we'll probably loan him out, wouldn't we, for the next 5 seasons?
He's worth £80 million of anyone's money.
He's to us, definitely.
If we get half,
but he's worth more than that to us because we and I know
we didn't need him against the Villa, Ryan. So
it's a big shout that is, mate. That's
yeah, but over the course of a season,
he has. There's, I'd say this year, Neves, Jose Sarr, Max Kilman, Semedo, all been outstanding this season.
Is any player irreplaceable though? You know, going a step further, we didn't want to lose Adama, and now it's like who's Adama? We've totally forgot about him, haven't we? Let's be honest, we've moved on.
Well, now Trincão's got his boots on his right feet. Absolutely, we have.
I'm not saying that would happen with Neves, but there'll be another Neves out there, won't there? You know, a 21, 22-year-old Portuguese midfielder that we might look to develop. And like Lockie said, that's clearly the model, isn't it? That's what we look to do. So,
and it's working, isn't it? And that's the thing.
And, it, yeah.
So if we throw out, you know, a conservative £50 million for Ruben Neves, someone market value wise, it's probably going to be 20-25 for Adama, even if it ends up as a swap with Trincão. So that's 75. You'll try. Marcel will go, won't he? You'd have thought.
Yeah, end of his contract.
He'll probably move on one or two others as well. He'll obviously try and get rid of Hoover, or I don't know. I think that have to be a loan probably somewhere. So as long as then, and if football does move on, as long as then he is given that money plus another, I don't know, 15, 20 million, which seems to be the way they do it, you know, at the moment each year, you know, a net of around 15 million spent, then that's some serious money in a really depressed market to be able to get the recruitment right. And if they get the recruitment right on this, then it might take them up again to the next level, but they've got to get it right, haven't they? And that's going to be the issue.
They're looking at those two. Well, they say it's rumours. They're looking at those two. Is it Lisbon centre midfielders? Who's to say? I mean, I don't think anyone can be as good as Moutinho, to be honest. But who's to say? You know, they can't be two excellent midfielders for us. I think we've got to be realistic. That, like you said, Neves isn't going to stay forever, is he? Even if we get another year, he's going to go, and he deserves to go.
He does deserve to go, and he's one of the few players that you'd say, if Neves goes to Barcelona in the summer, I'm going to be gutted, but I'm going to go, you know what? I absolutely do not begrudge you that. You've given me some special moments. You've represented my club. You've helped put my club on the map. Good luck to you. But I know Wolves are in talks with him. So if they're in talks, that's not a no, is it? He's not signed the contract. Happiness and being settled, there's a lot to be said for that. Yeah. And it's not like he's 29 or 30 and this is his last move. He's still early in his career. That position that he plays can probably play till early mid-30s. So Could we get another year out of him, and he signs a big contract, and then when we get big money the year after,
with a
I'll take
clause,
that.
with a buyout clause, a certain figure. I think that may well depend on whether or not we're playing in any sort of European competition next season, which makes this next few matches even more crucial.
Yeah.
And like Knocker said, Adama was in contract talks. He didn't sign one.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean
it doesn't mean anything. I do think that could be the way forward, though, is we give him a new 3-year deal, but with the caveat that you've got a buyout clause of 70 million.
Yeah, but
someone comes in and takes it. But my suspicion is I think he'll go.
But yeah, and mine, I would go with you on that. But the club are trying, and if and when he does go and they sell other players, then there's always we're a selling club. We're all selling clubs. I mean, you mentioned Grealish a minute ago. They took 100 million for him. It's the food chain, and the reality of the world is, if Manchester United or if Liverpool or Manchester City or Chelsea, and probably not anymore, but coming for one of your players, then
they're going to go.
That's where we are at the moment. Just as if Wolves make a bid for, I don't know, somebody from Middlesbrough, like with Traore, or those. Do you know what I mean? It's just where we are in the food chain at the moment, and that's and we just have to accept that for now.
Yeah, I just want to jump in there a second. Early on, I talked about these Newcastle tickets. Now, RM Pez was the first person to message me. If you want to drop me a message on Facebook, because you're following on Facebook, if you definitely want them, you're going to use them. These tickets are yours, and I hope you have a great night with your dad and enjoy the game. So drop me a message. If you do that, I'll get them recorded delivery tomorrow, so they'll be there for you on Wednesday. So yes, these are yours. If you drop me a message, enjoy the game, Arpez.
They're in the dugout, aren't they? In the dugout.
They would have been on the bench a month ago. So yeah, we've swerved around a little bit, but there's 4 of us on, so it's going to go that way. We've talked about Joao Moutinho and his contract. We've talked about Max Kilman and the defence. Let's talk about Fabio Silva. Let's talk about that first instalment of 35 million, and when we pay the second instalment for Fabio Silva. Was this the coming of age for Fabio Silva, Tyler?
You'd certainly like to think so, wouldn't you? I mean, we had a chat yesterday, didn't we, Ryan? And I think the way he plays, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it's a total flip from me, the way he plays totally suits the formation better than when Jimenez. Jimenez is a bit more static, a bit more immobile, back to goal a lot of the time. The way we attacked and just put men forward, and he was turning
fluid,
and spinning and giving them problems both sides. He was running in behind. Obviously, the Mings incident. He picked the ball up in his own half and just carried it 30, 40 yards and slipped Trincao in. That was real maturity. And his movement has never been in question, has it? He's always had that. He's always shown that. But it was just a mature performance, wasn't it? And then I think someone mentioned there's probably a bit of an arrogance from sort of Mings and Konsa that they're up against Fabio. You know,
that was Knocker, yeah.
He still gets a bit of a bad press, doesn't he, from journos that don't really see him. I thought it was superb. And if he keeps playing like that, then Jimenez has got a job getting back into the side, hasn't he, ultimately?
But not only that, his performance was good in a Premier League derby, but he's against, and I know we talk about Mings, but he's against 2 strong, fast centre-backs. I mean, out of the 2, Mings is probably the one that shouldn't be in the England squad out of the 2 centre-backs, because the Villa fans all say that the other guy is the better centre-back, and they've both got pace. And Fabio gave him an absolutely torrid time. In that first half, he was left, he was right, he was running at them, he put Trincao through, he's mugged Mings and scored. Knocker, what a performance from a 19-year-old.
He was sensational. I thought he bullied Konsa and I thought he bullied Mings, and there was moments where he dropped back into midfield and he bullied McGinn as well and knocked him off the ball. I think Tyler explained it well. He used the ball really well. It was intelligent. I don't remember him ever giving the ball away. Every time he had it, he got himself looking towards goal, and when there wasn't an option, he drove forward and ended up playing Trincao in. He nearly scored after he robbed. I think it was Mings he robbed, and he nearly bent it. Nearly bent one in the top corner. He was only lacking a goal for me.
He did 2 robs, didn't he? He robbed Mings in the first half, and I think it might have been
Ashley Young, was it?
Who was right back then? It was Matt. I think it was Cash. He robbed in the second half because he cut inside and tried to bend it in the top corner, but
curled it. Yeah.
But really, you could see they were worried about him. I mean, the opening few minutes, they kind of left him alone, and then he just started putting himself about, and you could just see there was a little air of fear about Villa's back four every time he got on the ball, and he was running the channels, he was dropping into midfield, he was making intelligent runs. You know, he was stepping over the ball when it wasn't there for him to collect. I just thought it was a real good centre-half performance. It reminded me a bit of Raul in his first season at Wolves, full of energy, full of movement.
Yeah, going both ways, yeah.
Yeah, where Raul's gone naturally a little bit deeper now, and we know there's reasons behind that. But I just thought he had the real arrogance about him, and I really enjoyed that performance. And for me now, he's got to get games to now at the end of the season, because we need to know if he's going to be there for us next season. Is he going to be the one to score the goals? Because we can't go into next season in the attacking positions we have done this season, because although we're scoring goals now, we put ourselves in the spot at the start of the season, didn't we? So he needs game time now, and let's see if he's got enough to really have a run at that number 9 spot next season.
Well, yeah. even if Jimenez was fit for Newcastle, which he is fit, sorry, even if he wasn't suspended, I don't think he'd get dropped. He was that good.
No, you can't,
regardless of Jimenez's form, you're not dropping Fabio after that. So Daz, is this now the 35 million punt now looking like a good bit of business and someone that can lead the line for Wolves for years to come?
I think it's still too early to say. I think what we need to do, we've certainly seen progress. I think first glimpses of it really was Sheffield United in the FA Cup, and you go then, oh, okay, it's a championship side.
It was good at Forest as well.
At West Ham, even though it didn't quite happen for him, he was the only one who really looked like anything was going to happen for him. And all along, ever since he's come, even when he was first arrived at the club 18 months ago and under all that scrutiny, he's never hid. And it's difficult when you're that big with all the hair flying out. But he's always wanted the ball. He's always made the runs. And in fact, I think at times, certainly last season, he looked as if almost he was trying too hard. He needs a goal now. But what I would agree with you, even if Raul was fit, you'd have to say to him, you know, this Friday, you keep your play, same again. And he needs to add end product to his game. And I thought I don't know whether it was the first time. It's certainly the first time I remember the crowd chanting his name as well, unless that's happened elsewhere. And talking to the crowd, it's interesting because speaking to someone from within Villa afterwards, and they said that they hate coming to the Wolves because the atmosphere is always crackling. And again, because we've said it before, the way the bottom of the Steve ball set out, and most away fans completely nullifies them. And again, Villa support couldn't really get going because of what was going on. And
if you're a goal down in 10 minutes as well.
Yeah. And I have to say, because usually when I'm not working, I'm in my seat behind the goal on the Southampton, because I didn't have to during the game on Saturday, because we had like Mel Eves and Gary Thompson with Mike Taylor. I could have the headphones off and just sit on the. And believe me, it was ear splitting at times. You could really, and so even it hasn't been as good as it can be this season at times. But believe me, Molineux is still right up there when it comes to atmosphere. Certainly in the anywhere around at the moment. Not every week, but compared to a lot of the other grounds you go to, even though it's not been as good as it can be in certain matches, it's right up there, believe me. And anyone else will tell you that who goes and plays there as well.
I think the COVID break really reset a lot of teams, and no one could really get that buzz back. And I went earlier in the season, I went to Leeds with Tyler, and they sounded like us in our first 2 seasons. Leeds was horrible, and you have to respect it. It was horrible. It was spiteful. It was like, wow, that's a proper home end. That was the South Bank before COVID. And I mean, you were there on Saturday, Knocker. I mean, must have been lapping that atmosphere up as well.
It was brilliant. Yeah, it was. The local derbies are always going to bring that out, aren't they? And the big games are always going to bring that out. But when Molineux's like that, it does give you the edge. It does give you that little bit of venom in the team. Feral, yeah. And we've said about doing it the right way. We saw what happened at Rangers on the weekend. That's not something that happens at Wolves. It's just very, very vocal and very passionate, and it made a huge difference. And I think it did nullify Villa. You didn't hear a peep from Villa the whole game. Even when they scored, there was no celebration, probably understandably so. But it was a really, really good atmosphere. And when the goal went in, like Dad said, it was absolutely ear-splitting.
But just even with the Watford game, where even someone as experienced as Ben Foster was rattled. Clearly rattled.
I mean, I know you weren't on to talk about that, but talking about that last week, and I'd not been on for a few weeks, but imagine putting on your podcast that you didn't like going to Molineux before you're going to go and play at Molineux. It doesn't make any sense. And you know what? His podcasts are pretty decent. He does a lot for charity. And it is more pantomime villain. I don't care about Ben Foster either way. I don't think anyone cares. It's good pantomime villain. But to say I'm intimidated, it's a bit scary. What do you think is going to happen? And then he absolutely gifts Podence that goal. I mean, that was, for me, that pantomime moment, it was glorious. Absolutely glorious. But lovely stuff. But anyway, let's move forward. The next topic I want to talk about is killing off games. 2-0 at Villa, he leads. We know what happened. I talked about it at half-time. This game should be 3 or 4. It should be over. Against Villa, 2-0 up, cruising, should be 3 or 4, maybe even 5. There was 5 goal-scoring opportunities. 2 things are going to happen soon. We're either going to keep scraping through games that we should have cleaned up, or we're going to absolutely slap someone. Which one's going to come first, Knocker?
You'd like to think we'll slap someone, but I think that decision making in the final third does tend to cost us. I mean, there was Dendonkers when he should have crossed it and he put it into the crowd, and I do think he had a really good game, so I'm not digging him out. But there was a few moments like that. Hwang, he beats Cash, all ends up and then fires wide. It's just those little final decision making. Trincao when he's through and hesitates and gets tackled. You know, we just need to find a way to be more ruthless in front of goal. But I mean, do teams really get slapped that often in this league? I mean, it's not commonplace now to get drilled.
It's not commonplace, but the last 2 home games, Wolves should have been 3 or 4-0 up, and that's not just with my gold-tinted glasses on. We're playing teams there. One team that's sort of bottom third, another team that's probably 2 places below us in the table. We genuinely could have smashed them out of sight in the first half.
I agree, but I think we would have smashed Leeds out of sight if it weren't not for a very poor refereeing decision. And I think, Villa, they were always going to improve second half. Stephen Gerrard was always going to move things around and change it a little bit and put us under a bit more pressure. But yeah, I do agree. We need to score more goals, but I think when, the goal stats from earlier with the third high scorer since Christmas, we're obviously starting to manoeuvre ourselves that way. And we put 4 past Watford. So we have got it in us. And, if we go to Newcastle and perform the way we did in the first half, I think we'll get another 2 or 3 goals in that game. So it's starting to come round. But yeah, it would be nice to finish teams off when we've got them on the back foot.
Yeah, I mean, we've been both sides of it, haven't we? At Villa Park, that game was dead and buried. We've come back. Yeah. The closest to death I've come at a football match with Knocker. And what happened at Leeds. But I think if we keep creating those chances, the goals will come. It's when you don't have them chances that we worry about. Let's move on to a couple of questions. These ones taken over from Twitter. Mark Poulton, Jose Sarr made 3 world-class saves on Saturday. The Bailey long-range effort, the Watkins one-on-one, and the Cash in stoppage time. Surely he'll be in contention for one of the players of the season. Now, he's not a fashionable name, but statistically, he's been acknowledged as one of the best keepers, if not the best keeper, statistically in Europe. So, Daz, he's got to be in the looking, hasn't he? I know, and he'll be on the shortlist, surely, for player of the season.
Well, what really gobsmacked me was he wasn't in the original Portugal squad.
What is going on there?
And I'd have him over Patricio all day long anyway. But the fact he wasn't in the top 3 goalkeepers in Portugal and the other team must be bloody good. I think he's been terrific. And I think I've spoken about him before. I like the fact that he's a positive goalkeeper. And he's always, and I've been against Leeds. It probably was one of the few games where it was the wrong decision to come tearing out and, in that pantomime goal. But I like the fact he's positive. He comes for crosses. I'd like to see him catch a few more than perhaps punching them.
Continental keepers are a bit more punchy, aren't they? So...
But I think he's absolutely outstanding, and his distribution as well. He's top draw, so he's become a real favourite already. And yeah, absolutely, he's got to be up there as within the top 2 or 3 most consistent performers this season.
Well, not just for Wolves in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's terrific. Yeah, and I think it's an upgrade. That was a great bit of business, wasn't it, that we did? When 12 million for Patricio, and we got him for half the price, didn't we? Pretty much.
There was a great tweet from a Villa fan, actually, and I always think you can gauge your players by the opposition's reaction. And so one of the Villa fans, I don't know who it was now, but he tweeted that Emi Martinez, that Jose Sarr is the goalkeeper that we all think Emi Martinez is. And I think that's pretty telling in the sense that he really is that good. And some of the saves he's made, the 2 from Watkins, although, the second one, it's a save he should make, but he still makes himself big and gets himself into position. Same with the Matt Cash one. It's a phenomenal piece of business that we've done there. I don't know how we got away with that one.
Well, it's just the whole effect as well, because there's no way Wolves could be as positive as they're turning into a team with Rui in goal, because he's very much a 6-yard keeper. His distribution wasn't that great, but Jose's fast. He's fast off his line. He's fast to give the ball. He's a little bit edgy. You know what I mean? Like they say, the old traditional thing, people say, oh, you've got to be a bit mad to be a goalkeeper. And he's a bit edgy, isn't he? But Tyler, you played a bit in goal in your younger days. And I know it's not a good time to talk about me scoring past you at Molineux, but I've done it again. But best goalkeeper in our lifetimes at Molineux?
Well, you haven't mentioned your goal for 10 minutes, so that was a start. I think to be top class, I agree with Daz. He needs to just be careful with that 5-10% where he does sometimes look a bit stupid. And I don't think it was a penalty on Saturday, but he comes rushing out.
No.
Dele Alli, I don't think that was a penalty, but he comes rushing out. The Leeds goal was comical. He's running all over the box. So I still think, probably, which is brilliant, he's got a lot of room for improvement still. No doubt is an upgrade. Has there been a better goalkeeper in the Premier League this season? I think Nocky mentioned it. I mean, I could play in goal for Man City. You know what I mean? They don't have anything to do they, really? Yeah. I think Alisson's a very good goalkeeper.
It's the same principle, though, isn't it?
Ramsdale's had a good season, but not just with my Wolves glasses on. I think he probably has been the best goalkeeper in the Premier League so far this season. And I agree with everything you guys have said, but I still think he's got that 5% madness in him. And if he eradicates that from his game, you've got a truly world-class keeper on your hands, haven't you?
Just to bring an update from Red Victor, I've always wanted to do a video printer. Red Victor tells us that Crystal Palace 3, Arsenal 0. It's great for the football, but it's not good for my dream team. So, yeah, thanks for the update, Red Victor, on that one.
You mentioned Martinez, and again, you're talking about there's a lot more to come from Jose Sarr. I mean, Martinez, he's a top draw goalkeeper. And I remember when he was on loan at Wolves probably a decade ago, and look how quickly and how much he's matured since then. So
as far as young,
there's a lot more to come from Sarr.
Definitely.
In goalkeeping terms, he's very young, isn't he? So, but I agree with you. I think Martinez is a very
he's a good goalkeeper
as well.
Yeah, Steve Dickens just adding to that. Him coming off his line allows our back three to move 15 yards up, and he does. He's a great sweeper keeper. He's very edgy. But I'm almost coming to terms with the fact that we pass the ball out the back now, and I'm not screaming lump it like I did for probably 25 of my years supporting Wolves out of the...
Still heart in mouth every time we do it, though, isn't it? It's still terrifying when we do it.
I'm used to Mickey Stoll welling it up, you know what I mean, up to Muchy to try and flick on, and I could cope with that.
Imagine Paul Butler doing that back in the day.
You asked me if he's my favourite keeper. I still think Stowell edges it, but that's He was the keeper when I was growing up. Just a quick one, Ryan. Are you modelling your look on Jose Sarr, or is Jose Sarr modelling his look on you? Which one is it?
Is he grey as well, then?
Whoa, boys! You're talking to an ill old man.
I'm Fabian Barthez.
Well, you know what? I'll take any association with any Wolves player, and particularly the most statistically successful goalkeeper in European football this year. Yes, Tyler, I'm modelling myself on Jose Sarr. Absolutely, all 5'11.5" for me. That's what every half counts, lads.
You're wearing those platform shoes again, then, Ryan?
Yeah. When do you want them back, Daz? Let's bring in another question. Still with that, asks, what's the point of refs calling pens live these days? If VAR is for clear, obvious errors and clear, obvious pens are the only pens we want, why not let the refs leave it out and wait for the calls? Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Lee Mason was on VAR on Saturday. So it's down to operator, isn't it? It's what's the point of having an linesman now when they don't put the flag up until 3 weeks afterwards?
That flag roll is ridiculous.
But they don't just do it in the Premier League. At least in the Premier League, there's a reason for it because of this. They're doing it in the bloody League One. There's absolutely no need to be doing
Everyone's looking. What's going on?
But do you think, though, Daz, if he doesn't give the penalty, would VAR have overturned it?
No way.
Never.
So what's the point of it then anyway at all? It's just a waste of time.
Can I just refer you back to my previous statement? Lee Mason was on VAR on Saturday, so we'll bets her off.
Well, maybe would have done, yeah.
The point is, though, and we talk about this every week, and there was more controversy in the Man United game with, You know what I mean? There's that red card, and that's the red card all day long. The McTominay tackle, and then there's the trip, which is probably a free kick. But again, Pogba did it before the goal for Molineux, and there was nothing given. So it is very much
consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. We just want consistency. But and I know I'm not really answering still with this question that always comes up with comments. So thank you for your contribution. What clear and obvious is the worst thing for me. It's a foul or it's not. It's a penalty or it's not. It's red or it's not. I'm not interested in if his viewer wasn't sure or it wasn't really a clear and obvious area. It's black or white. Was it a foul? Was it a red card? Was it a penalty? I don't care if you can't see or it's not quite clear, because that's still you're giving such a grey area for people then to be fobbed off with an excuse or protect the team one way or another. I mean, I must say this every single week, and that clear and obvious thing, it's not to protect the officials. It's not to protect the Big Six. It's there to be more consistent for the whole division, and it's been used incorrectly. And
they watch the replays on super slow. Sorry, Tom. They watch the replays on super slow motion as well, don't they? So if you do that, you can always find a foul if you do that. It needs to be, you watch it in normal time, no slow motion replay, and you make a decision on the back of that, because you can always find contact somewhere.
I think sometimes they're looking to find something wrong with certain teams' goals, and then with other ones, it's just brushed under the carpet. And you remember we were talking about the Watford game earlier, and it didn't matter because we won 4-0, but I've still absolutely no idea how that goal at the South Bank in the second half, was it by Jimenez, was disallowed. I've watched that back about 20 times, still no idea. I mean, how would you feel about like they do in the cricket, where you actually have a couple of like challenges? For instance,
my dad said exactly that.
The Leeds game, the Jimenez challenge in the Leeds game, even though at the moment VAR can't get involved in second, just a couple of decisions you go, and if you get it right, you keep it. If you get it wrong, you lose it. I mean,
but it's still subjective, But my problem with VAR is with cricket, it's either hitting the stumps or it isn't.
Yeah,
he's either caught it or he's dropped it.
Yeah,
and this is where football is totally different. Tennis, it's either hit the line or it's not. Dermot Gallagher said today, the problem is 5 referees might have sent McTominay off and 5 might not have done. So you've still got opinion involved.
Yeah, but
opinion involved.
Just going on that, Tyler.
Right. That's the problem.
On that though, Tyler.
Agreed.
They going on the McTominay challenge. You'd say half disagree and half don't. Was he out of control and was it dangerous? That's a red card. That's the rules. So that's not. But that's not an opinion. That's fact though, because he was out of control. And if you're high with a tackle, that's a red.
But the pundit, Stephen Warnock, he's more qualified to talk about it than me because he's an ex-professional footballer. And Sue Smith, ladies footballer, said, it's an orange card. I mean, also, there's no such thing as an orange card, but they're ex-professionals and they're not fully convinced it's one or the other. And with Jimenez, like we said, may or may not. The penalty on Saturday, may or may not. And as long as you've got that opinion, VAR for me is a waste of time.
You may as well just use it for offsides, yeah. Because that's the only decision it can, in theory,
black and white.
Is black or white, yeah.
And even then, with the
the way they draw the lines, isn't it?
The quality of the software, can you tell when the ball's exactly been released by
That's
somebody's
the issue,
foot?
isn't it?
Yeah.
So what we're saying is stick the lot in the bin.
His toenails offside, but when the ball was played, was it? And that even then, it's not for me. It's not for me.
Well, how many times have we been punished? I mean, you think of Joao Moutinho's handball against Man City when it's hit him on the armpit.
That's outrageous.
The 300 we've had disallowed against Leicester City over the last 2 seasons, you know. And it seems to be us who catch the flack for it. I mean, we've had 3 50-50 tackles in the last 2 games, and we've been penalised for all 3 of them. It's just, I don't like this subjective element to it. It either is or it isn't. And if you can't be 100%, stick the lot in the bin and let's just go back to what used to work.
It was meant to take the doubt out of it, wasn't it?
It's created more, hasn't it?
And it's created more doubt. So
it's created more opportunity to protect your mate who's an official and to lean to a decision when you're not forced into one. It's given the opportunity to say, actually, no, I'm not sure. And it's given more an opportunity to protect certain teams.
And it's also tailored towards the TV viewer because it's jeopardy for the TV. Yeah. It's a little bit. Will it be offside? You know, building up.
Just in the stadium, we've got no idea.
Celebrating. Imagine celebrating a goal that's been ruled out to VAR. I mean, no one wants that.
Well, we haven't had the chance yet.
We haven't had the chance. I just want to get on. We've got 5 minutes left. I just want to get into a couple more questions. Regular viewer and contributor, Greg. Now, Greg had a different opinion to a few about Fabio Silva, and I think Fabio Silva's still performance split some people, but he was just saying, he's emphasising the need to be able to express an opinion about individuals in the team. He said he received some stick for his views on Fabio performance on Saturday. Now, unfortunately, the internet is an unpleasant place and people aren't always polite or professional or courteous, but you know what? We're all here to give an opinion. I might be wrong. Knocker might be wrong. Daz is never wrong. Tyler's always wrong. So, you know, we're all on to give an opinion. And if you've got any stick, Greg, I hope it wasn't too bad. But
08081 009956. But I say, just as we were saying before, was it offside or wasn't it? There's the draw of the line. After that, there ain't any right answers or any wrong answers. It's what you think.
Absolutely.
And your opinion is no more valid than mine or valid to the bloke
absolutely.
down the road.
And it's crucial that we don't lose the ability and opportunity to voice our opinion, because we all have our football teams, we all have our football. None of us are always right. None of us are always wrong. So yeah, keep your head up, Greg. Keep them opinions coming, mate. And as always, thanks for your contribution on and towards the show. One last question from Jazz. Good luck to whoever's going to answer this one. Can you explain the club's business strategy in electing a shift from debt to equity funding, and does it suggest... Right then, shall I take that one?
It's got Tyler's name written all over it.
I'll take it, boys. So basically, debt to equity swaps are common transactions that enable borrower to transform loans into shares or stock or equity. How about that then?
Someone's done the research.
Yeah, mate, I can't have that kind of question and say.
There's a lot of big words going on here, son. Layman it for us.
Let me fit. Okay, so basically, then, if you're going to convert the existing debt into equity, it frees up more money for the company, and also if it's clearing the debt itself, it allows a more opportunity, a more interesting opportunity for investors. Say so. So basically, going back to Jazz's question.
Very good. Very good. Outstanding ovation.
Right, back to the real stuff. We're going to do Friday.
How long did it take you to research that?
So Jazz, who's a mate of mine, he has got. I think he's had me away there. He's got a bet. He's got his financial knowledge. He's outstanding. But so basically, I think he's trying to get me to highlight the fact that it feels like Wolves are being smart. They're clearing their debts, which will make us more attractive if an investor comes along, because there is no debt at the club now. So thanks, Jazz. I hope I dealt with that okay.
It's also for FFP reasons as well. It's
absolutely
also for FFP reasons. And you look at the mess Everton are in now all of a sudden. Where did that come from? It's extraordinary the state they're in. So again, it just, even though we get frustrated, it's good. It's just, let's face it, they're not a multi-billion pound conglomerate company for no reason. They know what they're doing, don't they?
It's working as well.
Right then, lads, we've got 2.5 minutes left. Running out of time, as it always seems to fly by. We've got Newcastle away on Friday night. Daz, give us your prediction and any team changes you're going to make.
Oh, God. Well, look, the last time we were in this situation, it was Arsenal and West Ham. And everyone was dreaming, everyone was getting excited, and it fell flat, didn't it? So for me, personally, I'd go, providing everyone's fit, I'd go with the same starting 11, and I'm going to go for 1-0 Wolves.
Who's your scorer, mate?
Couldn't give a toss.
Yeah, but you've got to tell me. I know that, but you've got to tell me, scorer.
Okay. I'm going to tell you who's going to score, right? From the penalty spot, our second penalty this season.
No Neves or
Fabio Silva.
With a penalty.
Naughty. Burnley away.
His first goal was Burnley away, a penalty, yeah. And he's yet to score in front of supporters since he come to Molineux as well. So,
wow,
Knocker, you've got 30 seconds. Go.
Sorry.
Same team. 3-0 Wolves, Fabio Silva.
Crikey, there's some confidence there. Some absolute confidence building there.
I fancy it.
Here comes the reality check in the form of our own 6'7" Steve Sidwell. What you got for us, mate?
It's a problem, Knocker. You never learn, do you, sir? You never learn. I'm just going to keep saying we're going to lose because it's going all right at the moment for me. So I'd probably... Although I said Johnny, I think you're both right. We probably deserve to keep the same team, and we'll lose 2-1 with Chris Wood scoring first. But obviously, I
Oh,
think we'll
God,
win.
that's to be Wood, didn't it?
Mate, you stink.
I can't get any lower.
All-
boys.
Is John
All the
Joe
players, you went
Shelby
Chris
going to
Wood.
score as well,
Oh,
is he?
my
Yeah.
God. Right, we're getting to the end of the show.
That's it, I'm
I'm
going
going
home.
to go with the same team. There's plenty of rest there for players that are fresh back into the team, like Johnny. It's a positive performance. They'll be hurting a bit. But again, I'm going to go with Fabio Silva, and I'm going to go 2-0 Wolves. This has been episode 26 of the Wolves Report. Thanks to Mark Knock, Chris Tyler, and thank you to Daz Hale. Thanks for watching. Up the Wolves.